happy to have y'all here today to learn about the Leadership Grand Strand program. We're going to definitely be introducing ourselves. You're going to meet me today, obviously, and you're going to meet our leadership trainer, Eileen Soyson. Great. Well, again, I am Diana Greene. I am the executive director of the program. I worked for the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce for 22 years. When I left, I was the chief of administration. I retired from full-time work. This is my part-time gig. So I still do this. Love Leadership Grand Strand. I've done it for 18 years now. I was a graduate of class 25 and absolutely loved it, and then thought I would come in and do this for maybe 5 years or so to help out, and somehow 18 years has passed and I'm still here, but I love it. It has just been one of the great joys of my life, and these folks here are a big reason for that. And I think that as you get in and you get to know folks in the class, you'll understand why. A few things about me: I love to travel all the time. If you want to know where I'm spending all my extra income, that's where it's going to be. I'm going to be on a trip somewhere. We just got back from a cruise. I'm a diehard Gamecock. I saw somebody with a Clemson paw. Who had it? You. I'm joking. I have many Clemson friends. And then I am a big old nerd. I love anything that involves Star Wars, Star Trek. I go to Comic-Cons. Yes, I am that person. But it's a lot of fun, and it is a family affair for me. So that's a little bit about me and who I am. But what I think you're here for is to learn a little bit about this. Leadership Grand Strand actually is a program of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber, obviously. Our 44th year. It's hard to believe that we are actually coming up on our 44th class, y'all. It's amazing. We were very fortunate that we have over 1,200 graduates of this program. And what's neat about it is the graduates are from all over the Grand Strand. I think one of the strengths of Leadership Grand Strand is that it brings together groups of people who probably wouldn't have known each other otherwise, from different professions. We tend to kind of get caught up in our groups and kind of know the same groups of people. What I think is neat, you get to know so many people from so many other areas. I remember Gina Tremarco telling me that she said, you know, I got my banker from LGS, I got this person from LGS. I had all these people that I became part of my community, and I love that. We are managed by a 16-member board of regents, and like I said, you've got 4 of them right here hanging out with you as far as it goes. They're all past class members, and I think this is really important. They are people that have some way, shape, or form been involved in the program. Each year we elect 3 new regents from the class that just went through, and that's extremely helpful for us because it helps us kind of look at what happened over the past year. What were the good things? What are the things we need to keep? What are the things that maybe we don't? Always looking to innovate and change. So yes, the program has some basic things that do remain the same, but a lot of it changes, and it constantly is always sort of morphing into what is appropriate for what's going on in the community at this time. And then something really fun we do is periodically we will have at-large folks come on. And what was really neat is like our last one, I think he was from class 23 that came on, Matt Harris. So it was really neat to have the point of view of somebody that had gone through the program so much further back. So he brought a whole new element to us. So it's really nice when we see the at-larges come on too. But what's neat about all of these guys is that they are the ones who really manage it. They come up with the programs, the projects. They work to really make sure that this program is good and that it truly represents what's going on in our industry today. So I love working with them. They are absolutely the most fun board I have ever worked with. They work hard too. When you break down the 5 objectives of the program for Leadership Grand Strand, and this is all on our website, feel free to peruse. We're looking for people that are interested in expanding their knowledge, their leadership, learning about our community, and then, most importantly, learning about what can they do to go out and get involved. How can you go out now and make a difference and become one of those leaders? There's so many ways to be a leader. There's volunteer work. There's being a leader within your own organization. Sometimes it's just being a leader to and a mentor to that one person who really needs that person in their lives. There's so many opportunities, and really at the end of this, our goal is that you know a lot more about your community, and that maybe you've got some new skills now, something that you can take out with the thought process of making things better, and really, that's what LGS is about. What are some of the basics? All right, we are a 10-month course. We start off in August at an orientation session each year, and then we go all the way through May. We are going to have a 2-day retreat in September, and that is an away retreat. It's not that far, but you got to drive a little bit out of the way. It is overnight. It is one of those things that I frequently see people go, oh no, you know, I got to leave. I've got to go out of town. I got to stay overnight with these people. It is absolutely wonderful.
The food is delicious.
The food is delicious. Yes, right?
You know, the important stuff.
It is just so much fun, and we do some really deep dives into really kicking you off on your leadership training and really helping set the goals and some standards for you that really help you throughout the rest of the program. And then we meet every month, the first Thursday of each month. So that's really easy to know. You can put that on your calendar, and we go to all types of different places throughout the Grand Strand. We typically are in class throughout the entire day. So when you're looking at this and you're thinking about it, understand you will be in class from 8:30 a.m. till 5 p.m. We have an action-packed day. In fact, I'll be honest with you, the hardest thing that we have to work on is figuring out like what elements to keep in the program and what not, because there's so much. This program could be a 2-year program easily. There's just so many things we would love to cover. So keep that in mind. We're going to be busy. We're going to have a lot going on. You will not be bored. I can assure you of that. We're going to go over a lot of different types of topics. When you think about the Grand Strand, obviously tourism comes to mind, and that's an easy one, right? I mean, we're a tourist economy here. But we also look at these other elements that you see on here, economic development, and that a lot of times the economic development organizations are obviously looking towards growing us in other ways other than just tourism. So it's really interesting to hear what they have going on. Education, something that I learned this year, I didn't know, until we were talking to the class, and one of the places we were at, the person said, you know, what's your favorite class so far? What are you guys liking? You know, what's really standing out to you? It was the education day. They loved hearing about the Horry County schools. They loved seeing the littles, as I call them, the cute primary age, all the way up to the teenagers who were at the Academy for the Arts, Science, and Technology. And let's be honest, if you've ever been there, it is not like my high school was. Pretty amazing. So it's interesting to see that that was really a big part for them, and that's something that I think we'll really be talking about at our board retreat, about how do we expand that and grow on that. Law enforcement, human services, government politics, that one's always interesting. We have a really unique opportunity during the class that we'll have Jimmy Gray, who does advocacy for the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber, come in, and he kind of gives the class a primer on what's happening, what are the latest initiatives, what are the things that you need to know about. And then we take the class to the legislative reception in Columbia. We spend the day before that, we go out, we meet with the representatives, they come over and talk to us, they tell us what's going on, what are the latest initiatives. It's a really neat day. Now, it is an optional day because that one is kind of always, it's dependent on when we can actually get a schedule there. But we have that on the calendar, so it's one of those things that if you get accepted into the class, I highly encourage you, mark that day on your calendar. Do not let anybody schedule anything over. You guys agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, cover things like the arts. You're going to learn about leadership from Miss Eileen Soyce in just a little while. Utilities, you know, it's funny. We always laugh. We were just talking about this, actually. We go to the Solid Waste Authority one day, and I always have people over there like, we're going to the Solid Waste Authority? Why would you take us to the dump? That's what I get every time. And I even have people that don't go to the class. They're like, well, that'll be the day that, you know, I won't go to that class. Well, later they're going to be really upset because they come back and everybody that went through it is like, that was so amazing. I had no idea what went into it, what they're doing, what's happening. And then I have people go, well, is there a way to do a makeup on that? No. Show up for class. We'll take you through. Well, what's neat is you get so much, at places like that and many others, you get a lot of really neat behind-the-scenes views. You learn about things and how they work and in ways you never knew. Even for me, and I've been through this again 18 times, things change at those organizations. So as I'm there, I love to absolutely hear what's changed, what's growing, what's happening with them. And it's so neat. You get so many insights that you just don't get on the outside. So I love it. It's probably one of my favorite things. Now, leadership. I think we have the most amazing leadership trainer in the world, but I'm a little biased.
She's a little biased.
A little biased. But I'd love to introduce Eileen Soyce, and she's going to tell you all about herself and then also just about some of the different things that she does with the class.
Great, thank you. So I am Eileen Soyce. I would be your leadership facilitator and take you through the classes, but I thought you should know a little bit about who I am, what's my experience that I'll be sharing. I am from Pennsylvania, so my undergrad is from Penn State, so you will have to hear that during football season. My experience did start in hospitality. I worked for the American Hospitality Academy for 11 years, worked my way up from an intern to a vice president of training and development. That's where I just fell in love with leadership training. to be able to move people forward as supervisors so they could move up in an organization was something that really just was not what I thought I would be doing, but 11 years later, realized I could actually do this and take it out on my own. I got to work at resorts in the Keys. That was my favorite. But then it came time to start my own business. And when someone said, why would you take all those years of hospitality and go out and do your own thing? I wanted to take people from here to there. I love seeing people realize their potential, maximize what they could do, but also lead others. So I started this business to go in and work with organizations to make their people better. I did that for a long time, loved that, thought I was really making an impact in the world. I had a family, I had a child, this adorable little child, look at him. He's now 17. But at that age, at 5, when I was traveling, because working here in this area at the time, I really couldn't get business locally. So I was traveling a lot. And I thought I was teaching my young son that women can be entrepreneurs and women can do anything, and listen to me roar. But unfortunately, I found out from my child in church when someone said, oh, where's your mom been the last 2 weeks? And he said, oh, she's working. I was actually there that week, and I said I was working. And they said, what do you do for a living? And my child, who was 5 at the time, looked at these people who we did not know and said, oh, people pay my mommy, and she sleeps in hotel rooms.
I love that story.
I was like, I'm a consultant. I'm a trainer. But what I thought I was teaching my young son was not apparently landing as well as I thought. And keep in mind, at this time, I had been approached by Coastal Carolina University. There's my son now. And I was approached by Coastal to work for them, and I was hesitant at first because I had a really cool boss, which was me. But went to Coastal, loved it. I got to be there for 8.5 years. I started in career services and then created the Field the Teal program under Dr. DeCenzo. It was probably the best thing I've done to be able to be a part of something like that. And then unfortunately, COVID happened. So when we talk leadership and we teach experience, I will be able to share about what it means like when your position gets eliminated and how your heart is just a little bit broken. How do you bounce back? How do you be resilient from something like that? So I went back to doing what I did. And it was really encouraging because I didn't know what I was going to do. But within 6 months, I had a full client base. So I have been doing that, loving that for about 3 years. And guess where I'm going next? So I was approached by Coastal to come back and fulfill the position of Wall Fellows Director in the Wall College of Business. So I will be combining internships with leadership training with college students. I will still be doing my consulting. So I'm really excited that I couldn't do it when I worked at Coastal full-time, but now I can really balance that as a faculty member. I'll be full-time faculty now. So going back to that. So that's a little of the experience. You will hear my good times, my bad times, my crying times, my joyful times, but I will share that with you so that you can see where I can still stand and tell these stories with a smile. We all have something to learn. I'm going to want to hear your stories. I'm going to want to hear, what did you learn? How can the rest of us learn from what you've learned? Please know, in LGS, it is not just me. It's everyone sharing their stories in the room. So we're going to want to hear from you in your happy days, sad days, and crying days. This is to give you an overview because a lot of people will wonder, well, what are the topics we're going to learn about in addition to the community topics? These are the classes that you will have actually in a classroom, whether that be here or one of our sponsor sites. But this is where you will have your classes. We open up with the retreat. We do the self-profile, which is an assessment to kind of learn how do you communicate and how do you direct. Because in this group, you will be doing a lot of communicating and directing. So we're going to find out where do you fall in those quadrants. We will then break into the Leadership Challenge. If you have not read Coos and Posner, The Leadership Challenge, I will be mentioning that book several times. I will be encouraging you to read a lot. I'm the daughter of a librarian, so keep in mind, I believe that leaders are readers. You'll hear that a lot. So that's a book that I think that will give you a really solid foundation to grow as a leader. Then we'll move into these types of topics, the different generations at work, right? We have 5 different generations in the workplace. How do we work with each of them? So we'll talk about that. We're looking at your leadership brand. This is a session we did last year, getting our class to really be able to speak in front of the public, being able to pitch your ideas, have a positioning statement. So we do a little more than an elevator pitch. We want you to be able to position yourselves for success. And then we go over personal accountability. And that builds off of what you've learned on the retreat, the assessment, the different generations, and then being able to hold yourself and also your classmates accountable. Then we move into crucial conversations. We talk about those conversations you should be having because sometimes we're not getting the results we want because there's a conversation either you haven't been having or you've been having it and not doing it well. So we will talk about crucial conversations, and that is a certified program through Vital Smarts. So we want to make sure that you're seeing that. And then the last class, which is my favorite, not because it's the last class, but because we take everything and bring it together, and everyone gets to see kind of where they've grown in the last 10 months. And then you realize the friendships, the relationships you've created through this, and it really is a very, very special class. So that kind of takes you through what is the content. Now keep in mind, our Board of Regents, as you heard Diana say, are a working board. We will take all the surveys and the comments back from the class that just graduated, and we will make changes based on what they have to say.
Definitely.
So as of now, this is what it is, but it could be tweaked based on what their feedback is, right? So I hope you hear that we listen to what the group needs. I wanted to give you some suggestions just because as you're thinking, is this something I want to be a part of? Please, if so, apply early and please spend time on your application.
Yes.
The Board of Regents goes through that, the selection committee goes through that, and keep in mind, there's limited spots in this class. Not everyone gets in. So please make sure you're doing that. Self-assess why you want to be a part of this. If you are coming just to put something on your resume, this is not for you. If you want to get involved in the community and when you graduate, get back into it more so, or maybe be one of our success stories like Dr. Greene, then be a part of this. But it is every first Thursday. You are doing community service, volunteer work. You are asked to show up. So I just want to stress how important it is for you to really self-assess on if this is something you want to do and is the timing right for you? Because that's a big part of this program is the timing. Leaders or readers, you will get a recommended reading list. So I would love to hear from you, so bring your book ideas. Get involved early. Whether that's your hours, getting to know people, fellowship, get to know people early. Because it really is like any other activity, what you put into it is what you get out of it. Hang out with each other outside of class. Fellowship is important, correct? Yep. Because these are the people you will be connecting with after class, and the tighter those bonds are during class, it really does keep those people together. We want you to speak up. We really want you to feel like LGS will be a safe space for you to be able to grow. So we want you to share your experiences. We want you to ask questions of your peers, of me, of Diana, of the other leaders that are in front of you. Because that's how you're going to grow and find your place. Our goal is to grow the most authentic leader that you can be. Each of you are going to be so different. So to allow that to happen, that means you have to speak up and let your voice be heard. So I want to encourage you also to be respectful of all opinions, experiences, identities, right? We're going to really get into some stuff when we talk about leadership, which means we need you to be able to disagree if you don't agree, but let's not leave the room disagreeable. Is that fair? So those are things we want to talk about. We want to encourage you to be vulnerable. For some of you, you're like, she's got to be kidding, right? Mm-hmm. Some people still fought it right in the very beginning, but then by the end, what did we hear from everyone in the class? Be vulnerable. This is your chance to really bond with people that, to Jessica's point, you might not have met before. And to learn how to be vulnerable in front of someone you've never met before, trust me, that is a key trait in leadership. So I encourage you to really take that to heart. We want your feedback. And we also want your vision to leak. We want to know you better at the end of the program. At the end of the 10 months, we better know who you are, what makes you tick, what's your purpose, what's your passion. Because if you go through the 10 months in the program and we don't know you any better, then we didn't get to know you, and you probably didn't get to know yourself as well as you should have. So I really want to encourage you, make the most of this program, but know that this is a chance for you to let your vision leak. Some of you already have things that are your purpose projects. This is a great way to vet those, kind of test that out, but also find some things new that maybe perhaps you didn't even know God put a prompting in your heart to look out for. So I just wanted to encourage you with those lessons and tidbits. This is my contact information. Should you have any questions, know that I am here for you. The board can tell you I'm here for you even after the class, mentoring and whatnot. So if there's anything I can do for you to help you to understand what the class looks like from the facilitator's point of view, please feel free to reach out to me. I will answer you honestly, but with compassion.
You about getting involved in the community and how important that is. And one of the ways that we really try and help facilitate that is we have community service projects. You will have project hours. Currently we are requiring 75 project hours that you'll be asked to do outside of class. Typically what we do is there's a combination. We may have some set projects that we'll ask you to actually go and work. For instance, this year we had 10 hours of Habitat for Humanity. We had hours for youth's programs. We wanted people to get out and get involved in that. We had some downtown redevelopment. And then we also have personal hours because we know some of y'all are already out there doing some really good stuff. I bet if we talked to you right now, you could say, well, yeah, I'm coaching this team, or I might be doing this, or maybe you're volunteering somewhere. And so we do give you some hours for that. But this is a really important segment because, one, it gives you a really great chance to learn about different organizations throughout the community that maybe you find something that you're interested in. Maybe you find your calling. Maybe you don't. Maybe you find what you don't want to do. And sometimes, in life, that's important too. But what's also really neat is when we talk about fellowship, doing projects together with other members of your class is really important, even if it's just in small groups. In fact, I encourage that because sometimes it's really fun when there's like 5 of you working on a project somewhere together. You get to know them in a way you didn't before. And I'd love scholarship opportunities. We actually are very fortunate these days. We actually have 2 scholarship opportunities because sometimes I have somebody come to me and say, gosh, I'd love to do it, but I'm not sure if I can do, handle all of the tuition, or my business will only pay an X per, portion of it. So we've had for years, our founder, Bill Pritchard, we have the William F. Pritchard Scholarship Fund. I don't know if you know Bill Pritchard. He's one of the finest people I've ever met in my life, somebody that I consider a mentor personally. And so we have established the scholarship fund, and then we give those out per year. Normally we do them in increments, so it would be like a half scholarship or a portion of a scholarship for that. And then I'm going to let you find folks from the DEI Council tell us about our very kind of newer, it's only been around for 2 years, scholarship, which is the Benny J. Swans Jr. Scholarship Fund. And it was really neat. The DEI Council put this together as a way to get folks involved in the program, and I just love it. I just think it's just a really neat thing and something that is fairly new to the program. So please give us at the end, we have an alumni association. And what's really neat is we get together, we have social gatherings, we used to do some newsletters. Now we're trying to figure out if we just want to send out some just cool updates, trying to figure that out. And we also give out our Andebach Leadership Award. It's the only award that our organization gives out, and we do that for someone who has gone through the program, who is out in the community doing extraordinary things. And we have had some winners over the years. I don't know when these people sleep. I feel very much like, oh my gosh, I need to go do more. But it's really neat because we have the class actually help us choose the nominees. We'll choose 4 nominees. You guys will do some presentations on those. That's part of your project hours. And then at the end of that, a selection committee from the Board of Regents will actually choose the final winner. And we have a big social. We get together, we celebrate all of the nominees, and then of course award the final winner their plaque and get to hear from them. It is so motivating. Again, even just the class presentations alone where you learn about the nominees is fantastic. It is an in-depth process, but I've had many LGSers tell me that this is one of their favorite elements because they said, wow, I learned so much about leadership from this individual. It took me into a deeper dive in a way I never expected. So that's one of the real reasons we want you to do this. And we also take it very seriously. Again, this is our only award, so we really enjoy it. But what's neat about being an alumni is you get to come out and do those things. What's nice, too, is you're part of the LGS family. So whenever you go somewhere, you may see somebody hanging their plaque or their information hanging up in their office that they graduated. All of a sudden you have an instant connection. I see it happen all the time at the socials. People from different classes talking to each other, comparing what went on, or hey, we didn't do that in my class. But you just have this instant family, this fraternity, and it's really neat. And I love to see the alumni coming together. So just keep in mind, when you join, you're joining and you're going to have very great bonds with your group, your class. But you have all these other people too that you instantly become bonded to because you are now part of their club. And LGSers love to have fun with each other. You know, my class 40, oh Lord, I know. They'll tell you the best. There was class 31, which is 30 fun. And they all have a great deal of class pride, but it's so much fun to watch them come together and share that and share experiences and stories. And then just share, you know, they look after each other. And I love to see that happen after the fact. It's very rewarding. The applications, of course, are available at leadershipgrandstrand.com. A couple requirements. You have to have lived along the Grand Strand in either Horry or Georgetown counties for 6 months before you can apply for the program. So as long as you have that 6-month residency, you're fine. And then also you will require, when you send in your application, you're going to send in 3 letters of reference. I get a lot of questions about these. So to help you guys, letters of reference, they're great obviously if you have, you know, previous employers. They're great. I've gotten them in from pastors. I've gotten them in from people who, if they volunteered, it was the community organization they volunteered with might write something for them. I've gotten them in actually from educators, for the folks that are maybe just who out of school a year or two, and they're thinking, hey, I really would like this teacher to talk about me. Really neat. The one thing I'll tell you is it's not perhaps as important where they come from as it is what they say. So I want to highly encourage you, and I'm giving you a hint. When I sit with the selection committee and we go through these documents, what they're looking for is somebody who's going to ask 3 people who are going to write something about you and write something that's like, this person is amazing. They are meant to be in this program. Let me give you 5 reasons why. You want somebody who's going to write more than this. You don't want somebody who's just going to say, well, I would like to recommend so-and-so for the program. They're really great. Sign. No. Have somebody write a letter. You would be surprised at how many times I've sat at selection committee and those letters have swayed them and went, wow, did you see what was, this sounds pretty amazing. We learned stuff in the letter they didn't even put in their application. So I highly encourage you to think that through. Make sure you have really good letters of recommendation. That is a big part of the application process. Don't just kind of think that that's a small one. And again, those need to be turned in when you turn in your application. Eileen has alluded to this, and I'm going to, again, re-emphasize it to help you, because really our goal for this is to kind of help you if you're interested in applying, give you some hints, some tips. Put on that application everything but the kitchen sink. I want you to tell us about everything that you've done, because sometimes we get a lot of applications in it, and these guys have to make such hard decisions. And it comes down to, oh my gosh, well this one's done a little bit more community service here, yeah, but this one's letters of reference were so amazing. It's difficult. So put it all in there. Tell us about yourself. Tell us what your view of leadership is. Put the time in. Don't just write 2 sentences. Write it out. Tell us about what you think, what you feel. And there's no wrong or right. It's okay. Just let us get a glimpse of who you are and what your beliefs are and what you've done, where you volunteer, what you've been involved in. And if you haven't had time, because sometimes, you know what, I've had folks that come up and say, man, I've had like 3 little kids for the past years. I don't have time. Say that. Say, hey, listen, I've been a mom, I've been a dad, been doing whatever. Here's why I haven't maybe done as much, but I'm ready now. I'm at a place. Sometimes it's a career thing. Hey, my job didn't allow it. Now I'm in a place where I can do some things. Put those things in your application. They read them. Am I right? If I want to make sure that you look at to help you. We've tried to kind of set this out. We have mandatory dates for the program, which is the opening retreat is mandatory. The closing date, we call it the retreat, but it's the closing date, which is in May, mandatory. There's a few times where you have to be in class. Now, other times you are allowed 2 absences per year for the regular classes. But I want you to very much, when you go through this, look at the dates that we have down that are mandatory. Orientation is also one of those in August. Make sure you're available right now. So when you go in, you're looking at that application, read the dates and mark them off on your calendar, because you have to attend those dates. Those are the ones. The others, as I said, you've got flexibility But those are really important. And any other mandatory requirement, for instance, you're going to do 75 hours of community service work. That's mandatory. We're going to require that you go to a committee or a council meeting, whether it be through Horry County, the city of Myrtle Beach. There's tons of them, oh my gosh. Well, that's an easy one to get done. But we'll get you kind of engaged in that. But look at those requirements because we really mean it. I'm trying to stress this. We really, really mean it. We don't have too many things that are mandatory, but the things that are for a reason, and it's actually for you. It's because we want this to be the best experience, and we have learned what things, if people aren't a part of them, it's not a good experience for them. So keep that in mind. If you have questions about something along those lines, you're going to find, maybe on the next one, hold on, let me see. Yeah. You're going to find all this on the website. You've got my email here. Phone number, I highly suggest you use the one on the website though because it's my actual cell phone, way easier to get me. Use those. Call me. I get questions all the time. In fact, I'll be honest with you, some of the best applications we get are because people picked up the phone or sent me an email and said, Diana, I'm not quite sure how to handle this. Or what would you do with that? That's what I'm here for. My job, what I want more than anything, what Eileen wants, what these guys want, is we want to help you succeed. So I like to start that even now in the process. I am here to help you. So if you have a question, there is no stupid question. I know you've heard that before, but it's truly true. That's what we're here for. So we want to help you. And to the point that I think Ryan and some of the other folks made, if you know some of these Board of Regents folks, they're more than happy to help you as well and offer advice, offer insight. You know, having Christy, who just went through the class, another great reference because she's just been through it. She knows a lot. So we're there for you is basically what I'm saying. So as you go through and look at that application, do not hesitate to reach out and just ask a question, and I will always be here to help you. All applications are due in this year by June 30th. So that gives you some time to get it together. But June 30th is the deadline, and you can either send those in electronically, you can drop them off here at the Chamber's front desk. Either one of those is completely acceptable. We'll be happy to receive them any way, shape, or form you want to get them in here. If you have any questions or if something just comes to your mind, that's what I'm here for. I love doing it. So please do contact me. I'm here for you, and I look forward, I hope to see applications from all of you, and thank you for being my first ever application during class. Wow, high bar there. And again, we'll be here if you need it. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to see all of you today.
It was so nice meeting all of you. Hope to see you soon.